Wait a minute.
All right, we'll call to order the meeting of the
No,
Haverford
wait.
Township.
She said one.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Kel.
Yep.
Jeff's all good?
Mhm.
Okay. We'll call to order the meeting of the Haverford Township Zoning Hearing Board of Thursday, March 18, 2021. This meeting is being conducted via Zoom, and present on this meeting are Bill Rhodes, a voting member, Ed McGargy, a voting member, Jessica Vitale, a voting member, Jesse Poynton, a voting member, and myself, Robert Kane, a voting member. Also present is Bill Malone, our solicitor, Kelly Kirk, Director of, Kel, what's the title again?
Just zoning officer for this.
Zoning Officer. And Arlene LaRosa, our court reporter, who we're all going to talk nice and slow so Arlene can take everything down and get the names squared away before we begin each case. But before we begin, Bill Rhodes, you have a flag there, or there's in a different office in my building, so I don't have a flag.
Kelly, I don't have a flag.
Well, if you look very, very closely in the Haverford Township view of your screen, there is one towards
Well,
the
that's
left.
what we're going to go with then.
Let's
Bill,
go
Okay,
with
there you
that.
go.
the flag?
Right.
Go
Sure.
ahead.
So rise if you can and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Our first case, we have three new cases this evening. Our first case is Z21-7, Chris Ho, owner of 120 Westchester Pike, Havertown, PA, DC folio number 2202-0126800, who seeks a variance from the provisions of section 182-402 to allow a retail auto rims store within the C1 zoning district, and relief from section 182-707B to not provide off-street parking for an 800 square foot retail use where 8 spaces are required. The property is zoned C1 and located in the 2nd ward. Mr. Ho, are you with us?
Hi, this is Tara Ko. This is an attorney actually for Chris Ho. I believe he should be on.
Yeah, I'm here.
Sorry.
Okay, so what is your name again? Tara?
Tara Ko.
All right, hold on.
And that's KAO, correct?
That is correct.
Good, Arlene?
Good.
So Tara is the attorney for the applicant. Chris Ho, H-O, is the applicant. Okay, Tara, you want to do an opening, identify exhibits? Your case, you proceed.
Actually, Bob, before we start, as you know, I look at every matter before it comes before the board, and I look to make sure that standing has been established. I see that the applicant name is Chris Ho, but when you go further down the application, it indicates it's doing business as 818 Auto Performance, Inc. However, when you go further down, it references the managing member owner, Mr. Ho, of 120 Westchester Pike LLC, which is the landowner of the property. I have reviewed the documents which do establish that 120 Westchester Pike LLC is the landowner of the property. And so I would just ask Ms. Cal to colloquy Mr. Ho regarding his affiliation with 120 Westchester Pike LLC, briefly, just to establish his standing to act on behalf of 120 Westchester Pike LLC.
Sure, thank you very much. Chris,
Yes.
can you explain what is your relationship with 120 Westchester Pike LLC?
Chris, before you answer, let me swear you. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Tara.
Can you please explain to us what is your relationship with 120 Westchester Pike LLC?
I am the owner of the 120 Westchester Pike LLC. It's registered under a corporation because it's our first commercial building that we purchased.
And are you the sole owner of this LLC?
No,
Who are the other owners?
Chester Ho, that's my brother.
I'm
Great.
sorry,
Chester Ho, that's my brother.
Chester Hall.
Chester.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Okay, and Chris, what is your title with the LLC?
I'm the president.
Mr. Kane, I am happy with the colloquy and with the documents in the colloquy. I believe that standing has properly been established.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Go ahead, Tara.
Thank you for your time this evening. The applicant, Chris Ho, and his brother, like he has mentioned, Chester Ho, had started this business and this auto rims retail, and they had purchased property purposely for this use. I wanted him to explain a little bit about his business, and like was said earlier, he wanted this property to change the use for a retail store, which is located in a C1 limited commercial district, which has a limited use. Chris, can you explain to us a little bit about this business, this auto rims retail business that you have?
So it's technically it's just a retail storefront. It's a boutique. It's like, we hang rims on the wall, and customers, sometimes they come in and they'll choose a set of wheels and the purchase, and that's it. Yeah.
So what is your experience in this business? So do you have other locations?
I do have 5 other locations, and now these locations, it's mostly retail. We don't do any services. We don't have machines. We don't have any mechanics, nothing like that. It's just basically solely selling.
Selling products with
Yes.
like these wheels.
Yes.
And can you tell me, how long have you been in this business?
Been in the business since 2014, and we've been ever since we've been doing stores.
Great. Can you tell me a little bit about this space? So do you know what was the previous use?
The previous use for the space in Haverford Town in the 120.
Yes, in the 120 Westchester Pike.
It's
property.
been vacant. It was vacant. Yeah.
And do you know about how long, or was it for a short time or a long time?
It's been a while. I mean, when we first went to the property, it's been vacant. Everything was pretty out of date. So we.
Thank you. I wanted everyone to turn to the exhibit, the photos exhibit. I don't know if I can share it, or if people already had the document.
You are able to share your screen if you'd like to do that.
Okay.
All right.
Let's see. So I wanted to just let everybody see the storefront. I don't know if everybody can see that right now. So Chris, which one is the property?
It's the one with the green awning.
Okay, and
Hold on, Bill,
Yeah, I was just gonna pop
you
in.
want to mark the exhibits or?
okay.
Well,
Mark the exhibits?
Before we do this, Tara, I have pre-marked exhibits as follows. A1 is the variance application and the acknowledgement of Mr. Ho. A2 is the deed to the property. A3 is the letter of denial for the requested relief dated November 13, 2020. And A4 are a series of photos which depict the premises. And if I'm correct, they depict both the outside, the rear of the property, and the inside of the property. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And is it the applicant's request that these pictures be admitted into evidence?
That is correct.
Okay. I don't have a total number of the photos. I know some of these are of the subject property and some have to do with other locations where the owner has businesses. So I would suggest we admit them all as a group collectively as Exhibit A4, but I would suggest, Tara, as you go through, that you specifically identify what is being looked at, because there are.
So I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. So I just wanted Chris to describe what the property looks like currently. So can you tell me how, Chris, how large the space is? And what's
it's an 800 square foot storefront. There is a staircase in the back, on the right, right back, where I can access to the basement, and that's basically it.
And also, is there a bathroom in the first floor?
Yes.
And what is this picture that you're seeing in front of you right now?
All right, so this Tara, this is where I'm saying we need to be a little more specific, because we have, either we need to break these down into A4A through whatever, or as we go through, we need to indicate we're looking at a picture that depicts X, Y, or Z, and can you tell us what it is intended to depict?
So then in the first few pages, it's related to the parking variance. So then I wanted to get an idea of what the place looks like and what his plan is for the business. So that's why I kind of jumped ahead. Is that okay?
Why don't we do this?
Or do you want me to go through each picture first?
Why don't we do this? Let's go through each picture first.
Okay.
Okay.
So looking at Exhibit A4, the first picture is a picture looking at the front of the store. It's a store. It's labeled storefront. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Chris, yeah.
Yeah,
This-
that's it. Mhm.
The second picture of A4 depicts a side view showing on-street parking, as well as the green awning of the store. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
A4, the third picture, is from a different angle, from the other direction, again showing on-street parking, but again showing where the storefront is. Also in that picture is, on the left-hand side, a municipal parking lot. Is that correct?
I'm
Yes.
sorry, on the lower what?
On the left side is a municipal parking lot. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, the next picture is simply a picture of the municipal parking lot, as well as some additional on-street parking. Is that correct?
Yes.
And all of that parking is metered, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
The next photograph simply shows a picture of the municipal lot. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
That,
Just
that,
the lot.
that part.
And then, yeah.
And then the next series of photos show the interior of the property. The first was labeled before photos, and there are 3 of those. And then after those, there is a section saying interior after photos of 2 photos, which are, I guess, some renovations had been already performed in the property. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, mainly just like painting and changing the floor. So not really renovations.
Right. And
Yes, that's correct.
then we go to the next set of photos, which reference the applicant's other store locations and products. NYX Auto Performance. Arlene, I'm sorry if my voice is cracking a little bit. NYX Auto Performance, 215 Stance Auto Performance, 718 Auto Performance, and a picture of
A storefront,
without-
another one of your storefronts.
without a company name, a bunch of rims in the window, and then No Limit Auto Performance, and then finally one interior photo of one of the shops with the auto rims inside of the shop. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So go-
There's a blank page, but I think the formatting just kind of messed up. There's a couple more photos at the last page 10 that I'm showing right now on the
I
screen.
did not. Is that okay? And the other ones are 3 additional photos of one of the locations from an interior standpoint of what they have.
Yes.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly.
All right. I think that identifies them.
Thank you very much. So, Chris,
Yes.
as we had already went through the photos, what had you done so far to kind of spruce up the place? It looks like.
Yeah, I did not do any, basically it's the same, we did not change anything that the building structure or anything like that. We just basically redo the floor a little bit and just freshen up and then just do flat walls and paint, and that's all we did.
Great. So as Chris had said, that this property had been vacant for quite some time, and it doesn't seem like we know for how long. He wishes to open a retail store, auto rims place, auto rims retail store. Right now, the property is zone C1 limited commercial district. Permitted use for C1 district is office, standard restaurant of at least 1.5 acres, hotel or takeout restaurant. So we wish to for variance on this use. And the applicant is actually very excited to open a new location here and has inventory ready to fill the space. And another variance that we require is for parking. As was stated earlier, the parking requirement is that they're required off-street parking for 1 space for every 200 square feet. This space is 800 and therefore require 4 off-street parking spaces. And we request a variance so that we have 0 off-street parking spaces. And as you can tell from the photos, there is quite a bit of parking spaces on street, but then in front there's about 8 metered parking spaces right in front, and about in the large parking lot there's about 18 parking spaces.
So Tara,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
are you saying that even a permitted use at this location would not be able to satisfy the parking requirements?
Exactly. There's really nowhere they can, what they can do and change the property in order to fit 4 spaces. Thank you for that.
Sorry, they can do what?
And
Ma'am, I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
yes.
Can you hear me?
You broke up a little,
Broke
Arlene.
up, and I'm trying to, exactly, there's really nowhere they can do, and I couldn't hear.
Sure. I can repeat that. So there's really nowhere, they can do nothing to the property in order to provide 4 parking spaces. So there's nowhere in the back or anywhere that they can build or construct 4 parking spaces off-street parking. And as you can kind of see from the pictures, what's nearby. The use that they propose is not that different from places nearby. I feel like it'll fit right in. They are filling a vacant spot. This is something, they can drive traffic to and just kind of build up the area. Right now, there's 7 commercial stores that's directly adjacent. And as you can see from the pictures, there's a hair salon, physical therapy, an office, I think a video production services, and auto tags. And I believe there's also another vacant space right on that block. And right on the next block, there's actually appliance parts retail store. So their use is not that different from the nearby spaces and adjacent properties. And it will not, their use will not impair any use of the adjacent properties. I'm sorry.
Tara, are you going to talk about the use of the second floor, or what Chris is going to be doing up there at some point?
Sure. Thank you. Chris, can you explain to me what's your use on the second floor, and is that going to change?
So second floor is currently a 1-bedroom apartment, and we already been rented out to a 1 tenant that's living upstairs.
What was the previous use of the second floor?
It was also apartment, so we haven't changed. We didn't do anything.
Thank you. And this particular change in use, and also there's a basement that they were using for storage. So that won't be for any retail, just
Okay.
to mention. Because he had mentioned there's a staircase to the basement, but that won't be used for retail. That's just only for storage of their product. This particular use won't cause any high foot traffic or road congestion. It is pretty similar to the spaces nearby, but he will be caused undue hardship if he's not permitted the variance for this particular use and for the parking variance. And like I had mentioned, there's no possibility that the use can be changed or the property can be developed in strict conformity with the use and parking restrictions under the code. Therefore, we respectfully request these two variances for the applicant.
Okay. Chris, do you just sell rims, or do you actually install new rims with tires on cars at your location? At this location?
No,
Would you?
we do not sell, we do not do installation. We will not have any machines in there. We will not have any mechanics. Basically, we sell rims. So because these are high price product, usually a day, probably 2 or 3 people will just walk in a day. And that's how much, it will do.
Okay. Tara, are you done with your direct?
Yeah, I actually wanted to go back to the pictures just for Chris to just explain a little bit what it would possibly look like. So, I'm just sharing the pictures again of the other locations. It's very clean, very nice, just displaying rims. As you can see, he has experience with this business, and I think it's thriving and it's doing pretty well, as you can imagine. Chris, can you tell me a little bit about these
I saw tires in some of the pictures. That's why I asked the question I asked about.
Tires.
Oh, tires.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We do have tires, but we don't, we do, purchase tires for the customers if the customer do need tires. But we do not put them on, at all.
Okay. Go ahead, Tara.
Great. Chris, I just wanted you to enlighten everybody about what about your, what do you plan for this particular space? That's, maybe you can use the pictures to just explain what you would do.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just basically on the wall I'll hang rims on on the window. It's just gonna be like a little it's called the shelves, so I could put the rims on it, and basically 2 desks and a phone, and we can function as a business. We don't need anything too crazy. Yes, we do have tires, but we don't sell. We don't
do installation.
No installation at all. Mm-hmm.
Great. I think that that's all we have for now. Thank you very much.
Okay. So, Jessica, questions?
Sorry,
That's all right.
Is there any parking for the residential in the rear of the building currently?
Yes, there is.
Okay. How many spaces?
There's 1 space per for one like the building that we have. We only have 1 space in the back for the residents.
And that's for the resident. Okay.
Yes.
So when the employees that will be coming to the site, do you anticipate they'll be parking in the lot or on the street?
It's either the lot. We would tell them to go to the lot because of the too much oncoming traffic. But if they do suggest to just park in the front, that's fine. But that's only 1 car every 5 hours, I would say. That's not going to be like that much traffic.
So you would have maybe 1 to 2 employees a day, and then 1 to 3 customers?
Pretty much, yes.
Okay. I don't have any other questions.
Did you hear Jessica's question?
Yes, he said yes.
Oh, okay. You all froze on my screen momentarily. So
I don't have any other questions, Bob.
Okay, Jesse?
Yes, thank you. Mr. Ho, were you aware of the limitations of the C1 district before you purchased the property?
No, no. We thought it was a retail store, and in where my other locations are usually, it's not a restriction. So that's why I didn't thought about that.
At what point after doing some of the spruce up work did you stop? Is it when you received the rejection of the zoning?
Yeah, I mean, so after the renovation, next step is to get the business license. So we went to the township in Haverford Town, and they told us that we were not allowed to, open the store.
Understood. And back to the front, will the signage be of a similar nature to the other signs that you showed us in the exhibits?
Yes, so it will be just a flat sign with some lights. That's it.
And do you have, will it be a similar name? Like, will it be 610 Autosports or something similar along those lines?
Yeah, I think we registered the company as 818.
818, okay.
Yep.
I have no other questions. Thank you.
Okay, Ed?
Yes, Mr. Ho. I'm looking at, going back on what I think I heard, is that this zoning use is not allowed in this district currently. And your attorney had said that if you did have a acceptable use in this area, you would only be required to have 4 parking spots for that use. But you're actually, with the proposed use, it calculates out to 8 spaces. So you're doubling the amount of extra parking that is required.
No,
Right.
no, the code is just that requires 4 space. So every 200 square feet, you need 1 off-street parking. So we're 800 square feet property, so it needs 4, no matter what the use is.
So, okay. But this retail.
Sorry, I'm sorry, just for clarification. No, it does absolutely matter what the use is. That's how our, that's okay. That's how the parking ratio is calculated. Retail uses are 1 space for every 200 square feet of customer service area. I'm sorry, a floor area. Whereas the previous
I'm sorry,
use,
you're cutting out, Kelly.
sorry.
Kelly?
Yep.
Kelly, you're frozen. Retail use, 1 space for every 200 square feet for customer.
And that, I'm sorry, I backed up, per floor area entirely. Exclusive of storage space. Whereas office is 1 space for every 200 square feet of floor area exclusive of basement if not used for office purposes. So they're similar depending on how much floor area is actually being used. The previous use didn't use as much floor area, so the parking came into consideration.
Okay, they would, yeah, an existing use for this property that is acceptable would require 4 spaces, right? And plus the 2 spaces for upstairs, 6, I guess, technically.
Right, it's an existing non-conforming situation with the parking.
And this use, even though it's not allowed, am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, the use is not permitted in the C1 zoning district.
Right. It's not making the parking situation any worse, it doesn't sound like that. It doesn't require more parking.
No.
Yeah, in the worst case scenario. Okay, that's all I have.
Bill?
Thank you.
Hi, just want to make sure, okay, I'm not mute. So, Mr. Ho, how many employees will you have on site? And what are your normal hours?
It's going to be 2 employees, and normal hours probably 10 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Okay. And so in those, and you say, how many sales in a, well, let me just ask this. Is this open 6 days a week, 7 days a week, 5 days a week, something different?
6 days a week.
6 days a week.
Yeah,
Okay.
Monday to Saturday. Yep.
Yep. And so on average, when you were kind of projecting your foot traffic, how many sales do you have a year in any one location?
We do, it depends on season. Our type of business, they usually come, one a day to 60 sales a month. So it all depends on the season. During this time, like in the springtime, it's called, it's tax season. So there's a lot more activity, but because we also do phone sales too, so even traffic wise, it's not that bad. It's not much people.
Okay. And so you have let's say on average 2 sales a day. So you have literally like 2 vehicles coming and going in any given day, plus 2 employees. Is that right?
It would be approximately 2, but then we also have to include the fact that 2 sales could be a phone sale, which could be out of state, means shipping and whatever the case is. So I would say 2 and 2 customers. Yeah, that's fine. You could do that. That's fine.
What size trucks deliver the rims to you?
What size truck? Usually we order from FedEx. So usually FedEx will be shipping stuff to us, and we're not ordering anything pallet. Usually just like single orders because these are high item, wheels and tires. So we only order by the cell. So let's say today we made 1 cell, we just order that one for the day. So it's just basically a FedEx guy would be coming in with a couple boxes. That's it.
Okay. And so is your retail establishment largely a showroom? In other words, that someone would come in and look at the rims in stock, or do they walk out with rims?
Usually, most of the wheels that you see is mostly displays. So, inventory, because if you do the, inventory, it's going to need a lot more than just 800 square foot or 1,000 square foot. So usually what you see on the showroom, it's mostly displays, but customer willing to wait, another time to come back.
Right. And, is
sorry,
your,
usually what you see-
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Arlene. I'm sorry.
I couldn't hear his answer. It said, usually what you see in the showroom, and he went out.
Oh, so usually what customers see in the showroom, they all displays. I would say 80% of the wheels that you see on, it's not that they're in stock, they actually displays. So when they pick and choose a wheel they want, then we place an order. But when they come in, they just come in like a FedEx truck, which just bring 4 boxes and that's it.
And so, Mr. O, most of these sales, whether they're obviously a phone sale, but even the walk-ins don't really result in you having to maintain inventory and take shipping of inventory to your site. You just ship directly from a warehouse somewhere else to the customers?
Yeah, it's called drop ship. Yes, so at times, like if we do deal with customers that's out of state, let's say Maryland, then we just drop ship it. We don't even see the customer technically. That's a phone sale.
Okay. And if I were to walk in to buy rims, though, and locally, it would be more cost effective for me to have them to come back and pick them up when you get them in stock?
Yes, I mean we again, the basement does have maybe a couple of a little bit of inventory, but it's not a full line of inventory.
Right. And when you sell tires, your customers don't bring any tires to you. You don't process used tires or store used tires or anything?
No, absolutely not.
And do you store tires in the basement?
No.
Okay. And then, so you're one of several storefronts. Are the other businesses physically attached to you? Are they about the same size as in dimensions as you?
Yeah, give or take. We have ranges from, like this store 800 square foot to 1400. So we're
No,
very
I meant
flexible.
the adjoining stores. Yeah, the adjoining stores here.
Yeah, this is Tarako. Yeah, I think that they do look very similar. They're all 2 stories, and they reach the back at the same way as the front. So Chris, is that true? The back
Yes.
of every building basically the same length and
With
the
the
same
one-
width. If you
Yeah.
can,
Yeah.
we can just kind of estimate. But they do look very similar. Yeah, in size.
And Mr. Ho, do the other businesses also have, sort of apartments above?
Yes. Some of
Yes,
them, yes.
okay.
Mhm.
And
as
so,
far as we can tell. Yeah.
Yeah, as far as you can tell. Okay. And how many spaces are in the lot behind your business, this business?
How many parking spaces or how many
Yeah, in the parking spaces, in the lot behind.
behind
Not
us?
the metered, not the metered, right? Just your own for the
Oh,
building.
Oh, no, I'm actually
Just the
interested in
one.
both. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
both? Oh,
I can tell you that the front of the building has 8, I believe. I counted it. Sorry, I just want to make sure. Right in front has 8 metered street parking spaces, and that's shared with 7 businesses. And then there's a large lot right nearby on the same block that's that's metered 18 parking spaces. And then in the back, I think Chris mentioned that the tenant has 1 space. That's just exclusive for the tenant.
Okay. And so if a tenant's got 2 cars, they're fending for themselves with on-street parking or metered spots in the lot.
Well, to the current situation, the tenant doesn't have any car right now. She's using public transportation, but yeah, at this time I'm not to that point yet, where a tenant have two cars.
Mm-hmm. And so it sounds like, you've got somewhere around 33, 34 spots of parking on street, off street, and designated for tenants for these 6 or 7 buildings, 6 or 7 businesses, right?
Yeah, 7. You're right, 7 businesses with apartments above. With 7,
Right.
I guess, assuming 7 apartments above.
Yeah, although the building at the very end, the auto tag store has no upstairs. So I'm assuming it's 6 apartments.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Right. So by my count, that's 32 available spots, more or less adjacent to the building. And with businesses that are fairly comparable in size and apartments, the apartments alone would in theory, if they were compliant with the code, would require 12, and the businesses would require something like 28. So you'd be about 40 spots if they had the requisite off-street parking. So fair. So we're really looking at a delta of 40 would be compliant, 32 is effectively available. Is that fair, Ms. Cow?
I think that's fair.
Okay. Okay, I don't think I have any other questions, but thank you very much.
And I've already asked mine. So any other questions from the board? Ed?
No, other than the fact that I would warn them if this were to be approved, looking at the signs, be very cautious of the size limitation of the signs we have in the township, because a lot of your signs look a lot larger on your other buildings than would be permitted here.
We will, I will, get a sign, that
Permit.
gets appropriate.
We'll get a sign permit for that.
With the right appropriate size and permit, for it.
Great. Jessica,
I don't have any other questions.
Jesse,
No other questions.
And
Billy?
Bob, yeah, I just had one other, for for the tenant, do you have a license for renting that space out?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
okay. Tara, is there anything you'd like to add?
No, I do not. Thank you very much.
Okay. With that, I'll ask if there's anyone present on this meeting that received certified mail that wishes to testify. Anyone present that received regular mail? Any other residents of Haverford Township? The exhibits were identified, marked, identified. I'm sure you want to move for their admission, so they're admitted into the record. And with that, we'll close the hearing on this case, and the decision will either be rendered later this evening or at our next regularly scheduled meeting on, I see Bill Malone stepped away, so one of my partners here want to throw me the date?
April,
Or,
1st, I believe.
yeah, April 1st.
April 1st, yeah.
On April, if not tonight, then at our next regularly scheduled meeting on April 1st. In this
Okay.
case,
I had a quick question. Did you say that you may make a decision at before the adjournment of this meeting?
yes,
Okay, thank you.
You guys don't have to hang on if you don't want to. We do have 2 other cases that, may go on for a while. So give me a call in the office tomorrow if you don't want to hang out. Or, Marge in my office, you can contact her as well.
Great, thank you, Kelly.
Yep, you're very welcome.
okay. Our next case is Z21-8, Jessica and Wayne Robbins, owners of 1741 Sue Ellen Drive, Havertown, PA, DC folio number 2201-0174325, who seek variances from the provisions of section 182, 204C6A to encroach into the 10-foot minimum side yard setback by 5 feet and provide an aggregate total of 15 feet where 30 feet is required. Also, section 182-204C4 to exceed the maximum building coverage of 20% by 6.7%, and section 182-204C9 to exceed the maximum impervious of 40% by 1.1% for the construction of a 15-foot by 38-foot 2-story attached garage. Property is zoned R2 and located in the 4th ward. So, Jessica and Wayne Robbins, I presume. Where are you guys? Oh, there you
Yes, here we are.
go. Okay. Bill Malone, standing good? You're muted, Bill. There you
Standing
go.
is final. Yeah, standing is fine on this one. And we have 3 pre-marked exhibits. A1 being the variance application and acknowledgement, A2 being the deed, A3 being the site plan and building and impervious calculations.
Okay. So,
Hello,
who's going to be the primary speaker?
Wayne is.
Wayne is? Okay. I'll swear you both, just in
Okay.
case.
Okay,
So, ladies first. Jessica, please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And your full name and address for the record, please?
Jessica Robbins, 1741 Sue Ellen Drive, Havertown, PA, 19083.
Okay. And now you, Wayne, please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes,
And I need your full name and address for the record as well.
sure. Wayne Robbins, 1741 Sue Ellen Drive in Havertown.
Okay. Please tell us what you would like to do and why.
Sure, we're looking to put up a 2-story garage structure. The top story, the 2 stories combined, including the roof peak, wouldn't go any higher than the existing roof peak. Would be a little bit lower as well to that. So we're looking to extend out directly on the side of our home, out approximately 15 feet where our current driveway sits, and then extend from the front of the house, or I'm sorry, from the back of the house up toward the front of the house, approximately 38 feet. The primary usage for it is storage. So looking for vehicle storage in the bottom floor, and then the second floor would have a small area up there for storage space.
Okay. And okay, are you done?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I don't want to rush you. I want to know.
So the our current minimum lot size in our district is, sorry.
What? Arlene, what did you say?
Well, you froze and
Okay, so do you want me to start over?
Yes, please.
can you?
Okay, sorry. For us, it's not freezing, so I'm not sure at what point it starts to freeze.
Not freezing.
our-
for me. Yeah.
Our current minimum lot size in our district is 10,125 square feet. And our current lot size is currently 8,250 square feet. So that is considerably smaller than the current minimum lot size in our district, which is the primary, what's the word? The primary, oh my God, I can't think of the word.
The minimum lot size in the zoning district.
Yes. Thank you, Kelly.
Okay. All right. Questions? Bill Rhodes?
Sure. You currently have a driveway, and the garage would be built essentially over the driveway. Is that right?
That's
And
correct.
does the current driveway kind of extend right to the property line, or is the property line beyond the edge of the driveway?
No, it extends direct to the property line, which was measured out from the center of the road in approximately 25 feet, which is where the lot begins at that point, and that is where the driveway also begins at that point. And then it extends to the rear of the home, approximately, hang on one second. It goes back from the start of the driveway, approximately 68 feet in total.
Okay. See, the driveway is 68 feet long.
The driveway, yeah, totally the driveway, yes.
Okay. And on the depiction, which is exhibit A3 that we're looking at, I believe, it shows the driveway is 21 feet wide, correct? And you said that currently goes right to the side yard property line?
Yeah, that's correct. It goes essentially, it doesn't start directly at the side of the home. It's a little bit out from there, and then it extends across. So the driveway is approximately, it's a little bit less than 21 feet, just simply because some of that, there's a little patch of grass, so to speak, maybe about, I believe it's 8.5 inches wide at that point.
Okay. And so will the garage, you said it would go within 5 feet of the property line. So I presume the garage would not be as wide as your current driveway from the wall of the house.
That's correct. We wanted to, for safety reasons, to make sure if anything needed emergency personnel or things of that nature, as well as to egress from the rear of the home and be able to come out to the front of the home, we wanted to leave a proper amount of space there. So it would go from the edge of the home out 15 feet, allowing for approximately a little over 5 feet on the side there in between our property, or I'm sorry, in between the edge of the garage and our neighbor's property line beginning.
Okay. But if there's, okay, so if there's 21 feet between the edge of the house and the property line, you need 15 of that so that in theory it would leave 6 feet from the exterior wall of the addition to the property line.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I read my.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, makes it a foot better. The existing driveway, obviously you're going to build over that. Will that be on a foundation or on a slab or what?
Yeah, it's going to be a concrete foundation for the garage itself. That'll extend out roughly about 1/4 inch on top of that. So portions of that are the existing driveway on the side of the garage. We're going to look to keep portions of that and then knock out remaining portions if we have any drainage needs and things like that. But where the property line ends and our neighbor begins, it's completely all grass there to allow for runoff as well.
Okay, and thank you, because you're anticipating my next question, which is that when you put the addition up, the existing tarmac on the driveway that would extend into, that would be in this side yard setback to the side of the garage, will you remove that pavement?
We'll remove parts of it to allow for runoff. So we'll actually run the rain spouting and gutters along the side of there and then have them drain off at an area that will remove the foundation for the driveway.
So you would be looking to have, so currently you have a downspout on that side of the house and a gutter that captures the water and brings it to the front of the house. Is that right?
There's actually two. There's one that takes it out and runs it to the rear of the home. And there's one that comes down and takes it to the front of the home. So those will remain intact because they'll still run off to the front. The front of the garage doesn't come exactly to the very edge of the front of the home. So there'll still be room there where it can still run off into that area there. And then on the side of it, or I'm sorry, on the rear, it keeps coming out and just goes directly into the lawn. And so the plan then with the garage structure is to bring that down and route it both out and down to the rear of the property to not infringe onto any of our neighbors' area as well.
So the new downspouts will both be 15, at least 15 feet closer to your neighbor's house.
Yes, they will.
And they'll both end up as, they're not tied into any underground system, they'll just be surface runoff?
They will be tied into underground, so we'll run PVC piping underneath the foundation that will run down into and then run out through the back of the property, similar to how they egress today.
Okay, so both the front and the back will be connected and run towards the rear of the property, not towards the front of the property?
That's correct.
And your property slopes high to low from front to back?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. And does it slope laterally towards your neighbor on your driveway side?
Partially it does. I don't know the exact degree that it does, though, to be honest.
And so even though the downspouts are being tied in together and running to the rear, you feel that there's a need to retain some of the existing driveway beyond the addition?
Yeah, we'll retain a portion of that to allow for easier passage through and things of that nature as well, from the front of the property to the rear and vice versa.
So exactly what portion are you planning to retain? You said it's a portion of it.
Of the portion on the side of the garage, you're saying?
He's asking which part you plan to retain.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
I'm sorry. Either I was breaking up or you were, but I was wondering, of that portion of the driveway that currently exists that would not be built over by the garage, you know, presumably that's about a 6-foot wide strip, because we've determined that there's about a 15-foot, you know, width in the new garage, and currently the driveway extends 21 feet from the side of the house. So there's roughly a 6-foot wide that if you built right on top of the driveway, for instance, you'd have a 6-foot paved walkway running along the side of the garage.
Yeah, I got you.
And, you know, we're trying to figure out how to comply as much as possible with the code. And one of those is to look for portions of impervious coverage that could be removed and help to also improve soil drainage, you know, water absorption and all that. And so, you know, I'm just wondering if we were willing to give you the variance to build the garage, would you be willing to take up the pavement that would be remaining and to the left of the garage looking at it from the street?
We'd be able to take it into consideration when we had our personnel come in to look at it with us. They didn't see a need for it, since what we were doing is putting PVC piping underneath the foundation of the garage that will be laid, and then running the downspouts into that, and accordingly underground in order for runoff. So they just didn't see a need for having to demolish that, instead of keeping an area where folks could go from front of the back of the property with ease, as opposed to digging up the ground there.
Yeah, I mean, potentially you could also look at it from neighbors' aesthetic of having green rather than pavement, or that you don't need it for runoff because you're controlling your runoff, and you could bring your impervious coverage underneath the requirement and not need a variance for that.
That's what he's saying.
Oh, gotcha. No, we would still need a variance for that percentage, because we're still keeping the impervious structure we have for the front of the driveway, as well as our sidewalk in front of the home that's within the property line. And then also we have a concrete patio that also adds to impervious. So either way, we would still need to request a variance for the impervious ground there.
Okay,
It wouldn't be
and by
a
your
significant
calculations,
phase two.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I was just gonna say, based on the calculations on Exhibit A3, it looks like you, as depicted in your chart, that you're showing 41.1% of the property is impervious, which just puts you over the 40%. And what I was kind of going at is if this 6-foot wide strip running parallel to your new garage were converted to grass, you would not need a variance for impervious coverage.
We would still probably, I'd have to do the calculation for it, to be truthful, but the only reason that I'm saying it is I'm thinking that for the space there, that would take it up. So let's say it's 40 square feet approximately. It still wouldn't put us underneath that.
The 1.1% that we're over of impervious?
Yeah, we would still need variance.
Okay, and I haven't done the
If
math.
that would put us though, to be truthful, if that would put us underneath it, absolutely, we would be willing to consider. Just didn't want to say that for sure, definitely doing that would put us under the need for a variance on that section.
Okay, all right. Mr. Chairman, I think that's all my questions. Thank you.
Okay. Ed?
Yeah, I'm looking at this, and why are you proposing an attached garage to your house and not locating the garage on some other part of the lot?
The lot is not big enough for that. It requires any additional structure like that to be at least 10 foot back from the furthest point of the house in the rear. And if we would do that, it would be over close to going into the neighbor's yard, even if we had a 5-foot structure there.
Well, you're still, the side yard setback is a big.
I'm sorry, even if we had, wait.
Go ahead.
She wants you to repeat what you
What'd you
said.
get? What's the last thing you got, Arlene?
If we do that, it would be close to going over to the neighbor's yard, even if we had.
Even if we had an
That's where-
X-foot garage at that point.
Wait.
It's just that it requires.
Wait, Arlene's locked up.
Yeah, Bob, if ever we could just stop for a second.
I think it might be your Wi-Fi, Arlene. How about if we take a 5-minute break and maybe reboot the Wi-Fi, and we'll see if we can have a smoother connection. How's that sound? All right, we're gonna take a 5-minute recess. Or answer your question. And if Arlene has an issue, we're gonna try an alternative, a workaround to it, but we're doing the best we can. Okay, so before we broke, Bill Rhodes was asking questions. Bill, do you have any other questions?
No, I think where we left it, just for continuity here, we were, I had posed whether if we were, to give a variance, would they be okay with a condition that they remove the residual pavement that exists currently that would fall outside the footprint of the new garage that's on the side of it.
Yes, we are willing to do that if the variance is approved.
Okay. All right. The second floor, will that be connected into the upper part of your house? I mean, will that be a living space above that?
No living space, no connection at the top floor. It would just be direct connection from the side entrance of our home now directly into the garage, and then above that would be stairs of sorts to get up to the second floor.
And upstairs, would that just be storage, or would you be running
Just storage.
utilities there?
No, just plain
So-
storage.
Yeah, and maybe electricity or something?
Potentially electricity in the lower floor of it. Looking to run a line there just to make sure that nothing in there, freezes up or things like that.
So it would be a heated garage?
Small, we're thinking of a, I don't remember what it's called, but those small heaters that get ductless heaters that could go in just so that it would keep anything from freezing, things like that, and things from getting ruined in the harsh weather.
Okay, but in the upstairs part, it would be electricity only?
Yeah, electricity only if that. There's no plans for that as of right now.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any other questions.
Thank you.
Ed, I think I had passed the baton to you, but in case I haven't, you're up.
Yeah, that's
Ed?
correct. We were talking about, they said that they couldn't put the garage on any other part of the lot because they wouldn't have had room. And then I was moving over to the side yard setback because I got a little confused. I'm looking at A3 and it says 5 feet and Bill was talking about 6 feet. Could you please explain what the closest distance to the property line from any part of your proposed garage structure would be to the neighboring property?
Yeah, I can actually explain that too, because we were looking at it and we wanted to mention that. So we accidentally transposed the number incorrectly. It's essentially where the structure that we were looking is according to our diagram on A3. Are they all A3? Yeah,
A3 is the picture.
A3 would have the most up to date. We accidentally on the A1, page 1, have written 15 by 38. And the attention there was 16 by 38 according to the drawing. And the drawing is up to spec for all of the footage that we have marked there. So I apologize for that. But the garage structure would be 16 feet wide with a 5 foot impervious there, or I'm sorry, with 5 foot where the impervious ground currently takes up. And that's the impervious land that we would be willing to rip up as well.
Okay, but the side yard setback you're requesting is only 5 feet wide. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. Is that from the wall or is that from any eaves or any other part of the structure?
It would be directly from the side wall of the structure to the beginning of the neighbor's land.
Okay, and this is an R4 zoning area or an R2?
This is an R2 zoning area.
R2 zoning, and do you want to reduce the side yard setback to 5 feet? Okay, I have no other questions.
Thank you, and apologies for that. Didn't catch that at first when we were talking.
Okay, Jessica?
Yes. What is driving the size of your garage?
We're looking to be able to fit both of we have 2 vehicles. We both travel to and from work and things like that. So looking to be able to fit those as well as have adequate storage due to not having an attic space or a basement space in our current home.
And what about the width of the garage? Because 16 feet is it's not the minimum garage size you can have. So I'm just curious what landed you with that width.
That's essentially, it would be for both of the vehicles and then additional storage toward the rear of it as well.
So are you parking the vehicles side by side or are they?
That's correct, yes. And the recommendation we received on that was a minimum of 18 feet to give adequate space in between, but we determined that we could actually go closer. It would be tight, but we can go closer for that.
So if the cars are parked side by side and say they need 20 feet of depth, the 38 feet of depth, you're going to plan on putting additional storage past cars on the first floor and then storage on the second floor as well.
Yep, we have an existing structure that sits on our garage, a portable shed. And so we'd be looking to replace that storage in that back section of the garage, the first floor.
Like lawnmowers, things that can't be carried upstairs to a second floor.
Okay, and then the roof line of the garage, you said it's gonna match your existing house. And it looks like,
Yeah, I mean,
can you
not going
describe
to
the
go-
roof of your existing house?
Right, it wouldn't go any higher than the current existing roof.
Do you have a peaked roof?
Mhm.
So it wouldn't go higher than the top of the peak or than
That's
the
correct.
lower portion?
That's correct. It wouldn't go higher than the top of the peak.
So do you have an estimated height for this addition?
The estimated height, I'd have to look up and get back on that one.
Okay.
I honestly can't remember off the top of my head.
I feel like I have it in my email, so I will check.
Okay. And then the 10-foot setback you have on the opposite side of your house, is that 10 feet essentially clear from the front to the back, or do you have trees and plantings there?
It's perfectly clear. There was a shrub there. We had that removed, so it's clear directly through.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Jesse,
Yes, let's see. What is, forgive me if we touched on this already, what is the purpose of having the garage attached rather than a accessory structure in the rear of the property? It was because you didn't think that it could be a large enough structure as an accessory structure in the rear?
Yeah, that's correct. And our rear lawn slopes a bit as well. So we would have to do a lot of excavation work and things like that to try and level the ground in order to do that as well.
And I believe you mentioned for the second floor of this proposed addition would be purely storage, would have no connection to the existing upstairs. So it would be, would you describe it almost as a loft to the garage?
Yeah, non-livable loft.
Would the floor of this loft be the entire depth of the addition, or would it start in the back? It's 38 feet deep. Would the loft be also 38 feet deep?
Approximately. There would be a little bit of space where the stairs come up in the rear there, but it would be approximately that, the length of it.
What do you think would the distance clear below the loft be to the floor of the garage?
From the floor down?
From the where the cars are parked, calling that the floor, to the underside of the loft, what do you envision that distance?
That would be 10 feet.
10 feet.
Yep.
And what do you plan? What would be stored up there? Just general household items, Christmas decorations, that such, or something more specific?
Storage for those type of items.
Baby storage, because they require so much.
I think Jess, asked my questions about the roof line. So you'd be tying in at the ridge line, and no taller than that. What would be the proposed materials for the exterior?
It would be wood, and then it would be shingles, vinyl siding, and shingles on the roof. Or yeah, I think that's what I was looking for.
Have you talked to your neighbor on that side about this project?
Yes, I have spoken directly to Catherine and Michael.
And they're in favor of this project?
Yes, they have absolutely no objections whatsoever.
Did you happen to get that in any kind of in written form?
I am happy to. I did not prior to this, but before we even filed for the variance, I did have a conversation, but I am happy to get it in writing if necessary.
Okay. And any other neighbors have any opinions, or have you spoken with?
Our neighborhood's very friendly, and people are just like, "Oh, you're applying for a variance for a garage?" And they said, "Yeah," and I said, "That's exciting." No objections. And everybody obviously sees the notice in our yard.
I have no other questions. Thank you.
Okay. Bill, anything else?
Just one follow-up question on the shed, and thanks for mentioning it. So will the shed no longer be needed and will that be removed?
It will be removed completely. Yep.
It will be, okay. And so, the roof of your existing house, which slopes from the center of the house down to the driveway, but the peak of the roof of the proposed garage would be up to the height of the ridge line of the house. How would that be tied in? Will you connect from the new ridge line to the existing ridge line and raise the roof of the second story house where, and create essentially more of a flat roof between the current ridge line and the new ridge?
No, I'll consider it together with the ridge line and the new roof. It wouldn't need to go any higher than the existing roof that's there now. So it would be under it. It would be under it to where it could be tied in.
Okay, I'm just wondering how this new roof line, which would have a peak that runs from the front to the back, in other words, right, parallel to the existing peak.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? I didn't understand the question. I apologize.
Yeah, so will the new ridge line of the garage would be parallel with the ridge line of the house?
It would a portion of it, and then a portion of it would be perpendicular because it would run.
Okay, I got it. Never mind. Okay, and so then you'll tie into the existing roof with the ridge line, and the roof will slope like from the center of it towards the front of the house and towards the back of the house.
Right. Yep. Exactly.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Ed,
And no other comments.
Jessica,
No other questions.
Jesse?
Nothing else. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anything you guys would like to add?
I cannot find the height in my email, but I'm happy to provide it. And every time you say Jessica, I think you're talking to me. I will, if you need it, I will. I'm happy.
No, that's
to get
okay.
it.
Thank you.
Okay. If there's nothing else, I'll ask if there's anyone present at this meeting that received certified mail that was to testify. Anyone that received regular mail? Any other residents of Haverford Township? With that, we'll close the record on this case and the decision will either be rendered this evening or at our next regularly scheduled meeting on April 1st. So this case is adjourned.
Thank you very much.
If
You're
you
welcome.
guys didn't catch me the last time, if you guys don't want to hang out for the whole next case, just give me or Marge a call in the morning. We'll give you the rundown. All right.
Okay, thank you. And just confirming, you don't need me to get the height, Jessica?
Yeah, I don't need you to. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, our next case is Z21-9, Carolyn and Jonathan Hobbs, owner of 614 Lawson Avenue, Havertown, PA, DC folio number 2208-006240, who seek a variance from the provisions of section 182-206C5A to encroach into the required 30-foot front yard setback by 6 feet 11 inches to erect a roof over an existing 8-foot 9-inch by 5-foot concrete slab. Property is zoned R4 and located in the 8th ward. Mr. and Mrs. Hobbs, I presume.
Yes,
And you ladies first, please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And your full name and address for the record, please?
Carolyn Kegler Hobbs, 614 Lawson Avenue, Havertown, Pennsylvania.
Okay, now you, Mr. Hobbs, please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And while it may seem redundant, I need your full name and address for the record.
I also live at 614 Lawson Avenue, Havertown, Pennsylvania, 19083. Oh, and I'm Jonathan Allen Hobbs.
Okay.
Mr. Kane,
yeah.
I have reviewed the exhibits and standing is appropriate. I would, however, like to go over the exhibits with the applicants. Who is going to be primarily speaking tonight?
I will.
Okay. Mrs. Hobbs. A1 is the variance application as well as the acknowledgement signed by you and your husband. A2 is the deed. A3 is the site plan. A4 is your photos with the narrative, and I'll get back to that in a second, just so I can count the pictures. And A5 is your calculation worksheet regarding the building and impervious surface coverage. Have I identified those correctly?
Yes, you have.
Now, with regard to A4, which are the photographs, give me one second. You put a narrative with the photographs. The first photograph is a picture of your house showing the front of the house on February 17th. Is that correct?
Bill, excuse me. Is anybody else hearing the echo of Bill?
I am.
Kelly?
If everyone can mute themselves while I do this other than the applicants.
I am here. I was at, yeah, no, I am here. I just, I was checking the audio on my television and that is doing the same thing. So I assume that Jeff is aware. Do you want to take a quick?
No,
Let's
why don't you all mute yourselves
No?
for 1 second? Let me try again other than the applicants.
Now it's gone, Bill, so go ahead.
Okay. So in terms of the exhibits, I'm going to start again just because of the echo, and I know we've had some difficulties tonight. A1 is the variance application and acknowledgement. A2 is the deed to the property. A3 is a site plan. A4 are photos with a narrative, which I'll get back to because there's a narrative. And A5 is a calculation worksheet with regard to building and impervious surface coverage. So first off, did I identify that correctly?
You did.
Okay. Now, give me 1 second. With regard to the photographs, the first page of A4 is a picture or two pictures, one of the front of your property, which is the white building with the, let me call it red or maroon door. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then the second photograph is a picture of your general location, I'm assuming taken from your property?
Yes.
Okay. And the second page of A4 are two photographs, not of residences in Haverford Township, but rather of what you would propose to have done in front of your front door to improve your property.
Correct.
Okay. And with regard to the narrative, am I correct that you indicated that, as well as in your application, that you have this sunlight and heat that's hitting your front door and your doorknob, making it kind of like a hot knob? Like, is that kind of what the issue is here that we're dealing with?
Yes.
And do other properties on your street have the same configuration in terms of facing the sun that your property has?
We do have, houses on either side of us, but they both have roofs extending over their front porch. And they also have very mature trees in a significant portion of their front.
Okay. And then the other two questions I have is, you indicated in the narrative, and I'm sorry to be too specific, that on February 17th, you indicated the temperature outside was 30 degrees, but that 2 feet off of your front door, the temperature was registering at 65 to 70 degrees. How did you measure that?
We used a thermometer that you use on your kids' foreheads.
Okay. And part of your application and hardship requested has to do with this hot knob. Did you ever register the temperature of that knob at any
Did
time?
not.
That's the thing. Okay. All right, Mr. Kane, I think I've identified the exhibits and I would suggest they be admitted into evidence.
Okay, they're admitted. What do we have, Billy? A1 through A4?
Yes.
There should, A5 is the,
Oh, wait, no, A5 is the building and impervious surface coverage worksheet.
Sorry. Okay. So now that we've identified the exhibits, either Carolyn or Jonathan, please tell us what you would like to do and why.
sure. We would like to construct a roof following the current existing roof line just over the existing, it's not cement, it's
Flagstone,
Flagstone, bluestone, impervious space right in front of our porch, or right in front of the front door. We do have a light out there, so we would also continue to have electric for a porch light. And there are currently gutters on, like if you see the front picture of the house, the front door is bumped out a little bit. So there are gutters on the side there, and we would just extend those gutters onto the new roof. So it's extending the roof line 5 feet since the setback already, our house is already over the setback. We did talk to all of our neighbors prior to, applying for the variance. I do have it in writing from one neighbor that they were supportive. We had no negative feedback about this request at all. And again, I was totally surprised about just the impact of the heat on the front door, of it being hot, of the door, like with the wood door, we literally had like a 1-inch crack all the way through the door. And then the fiberglass doors just have not held up. And God bless Thermal Quality Windows and Doors, who has had to come out multiple times to replace the doors. But it poses a safety concern for us, especially being so exposed visually in the front of the house.
So it's not just the hot knob, it's the damage to the door.
Right. So it's damaging the door. And, when there's a 1-inch crack in your door, that was exposed to everyone. Like we couldn't hide the fact that you could almost stick your hand through the front door and then.
And because there's no overhang, rain could get through.
That too, yeah.
So.
And then the fiberglass doors, the door warped at the top where the glass was. And so the glass didn't stay in. And so all of the, then we would order a new door and you wait. And all of these times it was like, I felt like we had a sign on the front saying, enter here. So it didn't feel safe, even beyond the whole, I don't want to touch the front doorknob.
Okay. Jesse? Oh, is that it?
Yes.
Is that all you'd like to say? Jonathan, is there anything you'd like to add?
No, I think we're good. Thank you.
Okay. Jesse?
I think you've done a really good job explaining what you want to do, and I appreciate the visuals that you picked, examples that closely match the style of your house. So could you describe a little bit about the architectural details of what, besides the roof line extending, which I think you explained in your testimony, would you have 2 flanking columns as depicted in the example photographs?
Yes, so we proposed 2 flanking columns, just to help hold, the roof. That's what our contractor recommended. And then the front of it, like in the examples, would be like the front top triangle would be closed to provide additional protection. And it would be white to match.
Okay. So it's fair to say that what you're proposing would be very, very similar to what is depicted in the two photos. I think from what you've described and what you presented here. And the columns would be trimmed in wood. Would they be of a specific order? Have you picked, your Greek order?
I would go with square columns in white.
Square white. Okay. And would you put the you mentioned the light fixture? Would you be keeping the light fixture, or would you be moving it out so that it was on the ceiling of the new?
Yeah, we would move
addition?
it out to be on the ceiling.
And would you also put the house numbers out on the pediment there on the triangular part?
Yes.
Okay. Sounds like a good idea. Yeah.
And would you be maintaining with the flagstone that's there now? Would that be maintained, retained, I'm sorry,
Yes.
or would you be replacing that?
No, that would stay. And I also wanted to mention that we don't ever intend to enclose the porch. This would always remain open.
Sounds like you've watched some of our meetings before.
Done within a year of the variance.
You have definitely watched meetings. Very good. You've done your homework. So great. And also, I wanted to ask, it looks as though from your photos of the current house that you took a picture of on February 17th, it looks like you have two small trees that are planted in the
They're fake.
Two street trees?
Oh, no, you mean.
Right outside the front door?
No, in the tree lawn. Are those newly planted street trees?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Out by the
Okay.
side, yeah.
At the curb line.
Yes, yes.
So hopefully one day I'm sorry?
They're not fake.
That'd be weird.
But one day they will be. So that will help, because certainly planting trees would be your best bet for adding shade in your exposure. But it's good to see that you have taken that measure, so that one day those will be helping your cause as well.
Yeah.
I have no other questions. Thank you.
Okay. Jessica?
I lost my connection. I'm just going to call in on my phone. I don't know if you can hear me, but
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you fine.
Oh, okay. Then I can ask my questions. I'm just going to be frozen.
No, we're looking at a still photo of you, Jess. But we can hear you. We could hear you.
Or we can't anymore.
All right. I'm just going to call in on my phone because you just cut out. Give me one second. I'm sorry.
All of these virtual hearings, and this is our first technical difficulty. Hopefully we'll get them all out of the way in one night. I apologize for this.
I think it's the weather, honestly.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Good
It's
point.
really pouring out here.
Yeah. Because I haven't had any issues. This is my first problem.
Here she comes.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes. And we
All
can
right.
see.
So,
You
hold
have to
on.
mute your other one.
Mute the other one. There you go.
I'm gonna kick you out of the other one, so
Go ahead, Cal.
stand by while I figure out how to do that.
Is that better?
Yeah.
All right, no echo. So,
There you go.
my first question is, do you have issues with the heat at the doorknob in all seasons, or is it just part of the year?
No, it's all year. I mean, I went out today, it was raining, but it's all year long that it is in, the sun really just hits that area of the house.
Okay.
Obviously, it's worse in the summer when it's hotter, but
Right.
yeah.
Have you done any studies to determine whether the depth of the portico that you're proposing is actually going to shade where your knob is for the better portion of the year?
So we did not study, like I thought about erecting, cardboard or something to kind of test it out. And we did not do that. I thought that having shade, even if it wasn't necessarily directly on the knob, would generally cool the area and protect the door such that it wasn't as much of a concern.
Yeah, I guess my main concern is if you're still having heat issues in the winter, since you face the open street and the winter sun tends to be low, that it's just going to keep beating onto your door and it won't necessarily solve your problem. So that may be something to consider. I noticed that you also have windows at the front of your house that are not protected. Do you find that those have been damaged in a similar way to the door?
The windows are actually brand new. We had doors across the whole front. We just recently had a permit to replace those. The doors were in not great shape, but they were also original. And we didn't use them as doors. I didn't touch them.
Right.
So
in terms of like the wear on your window or the doors that were previously there, is that similar to your front door?
they weren't cracking the same way the original wood front door did, because there wasn't a lot of, they were mostly glass.
Yeah, I don't think it's comparable.
Yeah.
As easily comparable.
They were big French doors.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't in great shape, which is why we replaced them, but it, I don't really compare them to the front door.
Right. And then my other question is, have you considered simply putting a screen door in front of your door to shade?
So there was a screen door on the house when we bought the house. And the problem is that then it just gets extremely hot. They had a metal, Spadero's had a metal screen, and I don't know, you would need an oven mitt.
I think that was worse. It was actually worse.
And I was like, if we get a wood one, it's going to do the same thing. If we get a fiberglass one, it's going to, it just seemed to me like it extended the problem as opposed to solving it.
Okay, I have no further questions.
Okay. Ed? You have to unmute, Ed.
Sorry about that. It almost looked like your house had a porch and then they enclosed it to make like a entryway. Is that?
No, I mean, there's radiators right there and our pipes up to the bathroom.
Our foundation bumps out in the same place.
I think that's original.
Just that 2 feet. Yeah.
Okay. And you said you weren't going to enclose this one, so that takes away part of the question. How large is the Flagstone patio out in front of your existing door?
5 feet out.
So will this porch extend past that, or is it going to just cover that existing patio?
It's just covering that existing patio.
Okay, I have no other questions.
Bill?
Yeah, so you've been doing work on the front. It sounds like there's been some tree planting and you replaced your walkway up. And did you reduce the amount of the front concrete patio to just being, okay. So it used to be more or less along the entire front of the house and you've shortened it to just be in front of the doorway?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. And so the existing depth that you're looking to cover, is that more or less the same as the depth of the old poured concrete?
It's the exact same.
Okay. And, in addition to the planting of the trees between the curb and the roadway, have you thought, is the concern that you just can't get, I think you had testified earlier, let me start there, that maybe some of your neighbors aren't dealing with this problem because they have mature foliage that at least provides summer or, 9 months a year or 6 months a year of shade?
Well, yeah, both of our neighbors do have very mature trees. Both of our neighbors have lived in their homes for over 20 years. And they also both have roofs over their front. So To me, that wasn't a real viable option in the short term. Just the cost and logistics of getting significantly tall trees, as well as not wanting to have things interfere with pipes or foundation, and those kinds of things. It seems like a less practical option.
Okay, and then, you know, from the street, the house to your immediate right, which does have this protruding sort of front entrance, although it's enclosed, right?
They do have enclosed, but then they have a little overhang as well.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So I don't think I have any other questions. I just wanted to understand that when you were talking about these doors that have been converted to windows, I imagine that they weren't doors out onto your landscaping. There must have been a broader patio.
Right, right.
Okay, all right. Thank you. That's all I had.
Just one thing really quick for clarification. Roofs or extending eaves are allowed to project up to 18 inches. So that they would be permitted to do that.
Yes, we were aware of that. I didn't feel that 18 inches would provide any relief based on this hardship. So that's why we sought the variance for the full 5 feet over the existing surface.
So Ms. Hobbs, do you think that as is depicted on A3, Exhibit A3, the 5 feet deep and 8 feet by 9 inch wide is the minimum relief that you need to address the hot door problem?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you done, Bill?
Yeah, I'm done. Thank you.
Okay. So all of my questions have been asked. Any other questions, Jesse?
No, thank you.
Jessica?
No.
Ed?
No other questions.
And Bill, you said no, and nothing's transpired in between. So.
Yep.
Okay. Mr. and Mrs. Hobbs, anything you would like to add?
Very quickly, what I'll just say is I think we pride ourselves on the work that we've done. We've been trying to make it always look like everything we've done has always been there. We think that there's a massive value to that. In fact, the whole idea of the windows, you can actually see by the picture, I don't think you can just tell that those windows have been replaced. We've been trying to do that. So, Mr. Rhodes, one of the questions you asked about was how far it can go out. One of the answers to that is actually, if it goes out much further, I think it wouldn't look natural. It would look like it was added. We want to add something that looks like it was there in 1920 when it was built. So I think that's part of the answer to your question, but that's also just
but with different materials.
Slightly different materials, I think. We don't want it to look like it's 100 years old. That's true. But yeah, I just to add to the answer, and just because I feel like I always have to say something. That's just my personality.
All right, understood and sympathetic, and thank you. Right.
God bless.
Okay. So if there are no other questions from the board and Mr. and Mrs. Hobbs have said all they want to say, I'll ask if there's anyone present on this Zoom meeting that received certified mail that wishes to testify. Anyone present that received regular mail. Any other residents of Haverford Township? With that, we'll close.
Wait. Before you do that, there was one.
Kelly, I think that was already.
Oh, was it? Okay, good.
It wasn't admitted as an exhibit, but it's okay. There was an indication that the neighbor next door indicated that they were in favor of the application.
Superb. All right, all I wanted to do.
Okay. With that, we'll close the record on this case, and a decision will either be rendered this evening or at our next regularly scheduled meeting on April 1st or 7th.
First.
Sorry.
First.
I don't know.
I
is
wrote
it
it so
over-
sloppily,
is
it
a
looked like a
joke?
7 with an underline. Okay, so it's the 1st.
I'll
All
be
right.
at the Phillies game that day.
On April 1st?
I won't be, but that's their first home game.
In your mind, you may be there. Okay. Anybody have questions for Bill? Shall we?
Yeah, Kelly, I'm gonna join in signed under my work account. I restarted my computer, but since you kicked me out, I can't get back on. So you're gonna see me as Kosha Moose.
Yeah, Bob, I would like to speak with Bill. So yeah, if we could.
Yeah. So
Summit.
Kel, if would you move everyone into the waiting room except the board and Bill?
I'm ready.
Okay. Well, you ready, Arlene? Okay. We'll resume the meeting of the Haverford Township Zoning Hearing Board of Thursday, March 18th, 2021. Decisions. With regard to case Z21-7, Chris Ho, owner of 120 Westchester Pike, Havertown, PA. I won't read the rest of the description into the record unless anyone specifically requests it. Bill Rhodes, would you please take that decision?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, for application Z21-7, I would vote to approve the requested variances subject to the following conditions. The first is that the property shall be used solely for the retail sales of automobile rims. There shall be no installation, tire mounting, repair, or other services provided on site. There shall be no tires on the premises. The basement of the building may only be used for storage, not for retail purposes. There may be no warehousing of inventory on site. The second floor may be used only for residential use. All business signs or other signs on the building shall comply with applicable regulations of the township, and the applicant shall commence its business within 1 year of the date of this approval and shall be in accordance with the notes of testimony. If there's any delay beyond 1 year, this approval shall be deemed denied.
Okay. Ed McGargy.
Yeah, a little tough one to do because of the change in the use, but I concur.
Jesse.
I concur.
Jessica.
I concur.
And so do I. That application is approved with those conditions, 5-0. With respect to case Z21-8, Jessica and Wayne Robbins, owners of 1741 Sue Ellen Drive, Havertown, PA. And again, I won't read the full description into the record unless someone specifically requests it. Jesse, would you please take that decision?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. With respect to application Z21-8, I would vote to deny the requested variance as the applicant has not established a valid hardship.
Okay. Bill Rhodes.
I concur.
Jessica.
I agree.
And McGargy.
I concur in regards to the hardship issue in regards to the side yard setback. I concur.
And so do I. That application's denied, 5-0. With respect to case Z21-9, Carolyn and Jonathan Hobbs, owners of 614 Lawson Avenue, Havertown, PA. And again, I won't read the full description into the record unless someone specifically requests it. Jessica, would you please take that decision?
Sure, I would vote to deny the requested variance as I do not believe the applicant has established a hardship.
Bill Rhodes.
I disagree.
Ed McGargy.
I disagree as well.
Jesse.
Regrettably, I agree with the decision. While I think it architecturally it is nice, I don't think enough of the hardship is established.
And I concur. That application's denied, 3-2. If there's no other business for the board, any questions? We are adjourned.
Thank you.
You.